Clerks is a 1994 film that focuses on one Dante Hicks, a convenience store clerk basically trying to survive his day at the Quick Stop in Leonardo, New Jersey. Kevin Smith said that while he was working there at the time, that he was in doubt about a lot of things. His future career, his time at the store, his relationships, and at one point even his own film. I've come to theorize that Kevin Smith's query with doubt also surfaced in Clerks, with a lot more religious subtlety. Of course, Kevin Smith, as of recently, has done more openly religious films, those being Dogma and Red State. Dogma is focused solely around the idea of religion and theism, where we have this group of characters, including Jay and Silent Bob, who are trying to prevent the end of days. Red State is more of a look on the Westboro Baptist Church group and sort of touches on religion, but is more of a background thing as it plays into the story, but isn't the main focus. In this video, I'm going to talk about a lot of religious ideas related to the 3 Kevin Smith movies mentioned previously. What'll be a longer shelf life than the Clerks cartoon, and easily a better idea than the TV series that wasn't picked up post-pilot,
Come on, let me hear you say it just once. Come on.
You're insane.
No! No, the other thing. Come on, I know it's just dangling out the tip of your tongue. Let me hear it just once, please.
Superman will never...
Wrong!
This is my theory for religious allegory in the cult classic, Clerks. Starting with the characters, we'll take a look at Dante Hicks. Dante himself shares the name of the same character, Dante, from the Inferno. In the Inferno, Dante Alighieri travels through hell, guided by the Roman poet Virgil. Each circle of hell has a specific test that Dante must endure to pass through to the next level, and the same goes for Dante in Clerks. Dante Hicks has to suffer through 14 different hells that take him through a very wide range of emotions. Dante also has a spiritual guide in Randall, who tries to help lead Dante out of the hell he believes he's in. Almost like a book, Clerks has these title cards that serve as chapters in the story, each of them representing a hell that Dante has to go through. In order they go Vilification, Syntax, Vagary, Purgation, Malaise, Harbinger, Perspicacity, Paradigm, Whimsy, Quandary, Lamentation, Juxtaposition, Catharsis, and finally Denouement. Because there's a lot, I'll try to keep them short. Vilification is defined as abusively disparaging speech or writing, and in the very first scene, we have Dante being verbally abused by the Chuli's gum representative and other various customers who also call Dante a cancer merchant and compare him to a Nazi. Later in the scene, Dante and his girlfriend Veronica act very disparaging towards each other about each other's previous sexual history. Syntax is defined as the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in a language. In this scene, there's a lot of dialogue strung together, mostly between Dante and Randall, ultimately focused around Dante and Randall talking about Dante's ex, who's soon to be wed to an
Asian design major.
Not only that, but the famous scene about whether or not there were independent contractors on the Death Star the second time it was blown up in Return of the Jedi. Vagary is the next one. It means unexpected and inexplicable change in situation or in someone's behavior. In this chapter, we see a man looking for the perfect carton of eggs, and the woman explains that he's most likely a guidance counselor because
if your job was as meaningless as theirs, wouldn't you go crazy too?
Purgation is the cleansing of someone or something. In this scene in particular, Dante and Randall talk about the customers that come into both stores and annoy them more than anything else. Mostly this is a tactic for Dante after the altercation with his girlfriend earlier, and a customer that Randall offended, who then ran off shrieking. Malaise is a general feeling of discomfort, illness, or uneasiness whose exact cause is difficult to identify. This scene is a tipping point for Dante's character because Dante has to really endure this difficult part of his day. He learns his boss lied to him about what time he'd be coming to the store and that he'd have to stay there and miss his hockey game. Instead of doing nothing about it, Dante closes the store and decides to play hockey on the roof. In the middle of the first period, Dante gets verbally abused by a disgruntled Quick Shop customer that wants to buy something. The customer berates Dante, then is invited to join the game. The customer slapshots the ball off the roof and into a storm drain. To Dante's chagrin, when he asks if anyone brought another ball, one guy says,
I brought the orange one in. The orange one.
Hey, are there any balls down there?
About the biggest player you ever seen.
Dante, then at his breaking point, screams,
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Harbinger is next, and Harbinger is defined as a person or thing that announces or signals the approach of another. An elderly man comes into the store to use the restroom and asks for a porno and soft toilet paper to take with him. Afterwards, Randall enters, telling Dante about a girl from his past. She had died, and Dante and Randall decide to leave the store and go to her wake. I believe the news about the girl is the harbinger of death for the man that came into the store, but that's a bit of a loose speculation.
Welcome to Intermission. Yeah, Intermission.
Next is Perspicacity, which is the quality of having a ready insight into things, or shrewdness. In this scene, Dante and Randall talk about whether title dictates behavior, and try to prove a point about it not dictating behavior. Randall does this. Paradigm is next, that being a typical example or pattern of something, typically a model. We see a stereotypical example of a meathead, but I think this goes more to Caitlin Bree, who's seen to be more of a bit of a loose girl, but shows a more humanistic side because she wants to try again with Dante. Then again, she could just be doing what she did to Dante, but with her soon-to-be ex-fiancé. Whimsy is defined as playfully quaint, or fanciful behavior or humor. Most specifically in this scene, we see Caitlin and Randall joking around with each other. Randall saying,
You and I have something in common. We both eat Chinese.
Also in this scene, Randall defends Dante, saying,
Hey, Caitlin, break his heart again this time, and I'll kill you. It's nothing personal.
Also, fun fact, Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall, and Lisa Spoonhour, who plays Caitlin, had a significant relationship during the shooting of this film. Next, Quandary, the state of perplexity or uncertainty over what to do in a difficult situation. Here, we find out that Caitlin had sex with the man who went into the bathroom during the Harbinger chapter and is rushed to a hospital. The difficult situation here is whether Dante wants to stay with Veronica or patch things up with Caitlin. Also the fact that his ex had sex with a dead man. Lamentation is defined as the passionate expression of grief or sorrow. Here, Dante laments over his life and his choices. Randall tries to set him straight and tells him to stop blaming others, and if he doesn't want to have a cruddy life, he should.
Shit, or get off the pot.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about...
Juxtaposition is the fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effect. We see our boys Jay and Lunchbox talking to Dante about Veronica and Caitlin. We get quotes like,
What's a good play with nothing on it?
and,
You know, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you.
Dante also chooses Veronica, but Randall tells Veronica that Dante chose Caitlin. Veronica then decides to break things off with Dante.
You don't want to go out with me anymore? Why didn't you just say so? Instead, you pussyfoot around and see that slut behind.
Catharsis is the process of releasing and thereby providing relief from strong or repressed emotions. This is the final tipping point for Dante, as Randall has provided the final straw that broke the camel's back. Dante and Randall engage in a fight, and Dante then blames Randall for all of his problems. In the final scene of the movie, we have Dante and Randall closing up shop. Denouement is the final part of a play, movie, or narrative in which the strands of the plot are drawn together and matters are explained or resolved. Dante and Randall resolve their personal issues.
You're closed.
And roll credits. As mentioned earlier, Randall plays more of a guide for Dante throughout the movie. I especially believe he personifies this godlike role. Dante, if going by this Randall portraying God, represents humanity. And I believe this for a few reasons. Dante has to deal with everything bad that could happen to humanity, whether that be adversity through loss, lust, impatience, greed, and so on. To prove that, here are some points. First, Randall is malevolent. He tricks the woman outside of the RST video store into paying him $20 for the specific movie he wanted, and abuses his authority by tearing up the membership when he didn't open the video store on time. Second, Dante, who again represents humanity, goes to Randall for advice frequently, making Randall benevolent. I originally noted about Randall and his malevolence that the video clerk giveth and taketh away. Another piece of evidence when he says the line, "He was mine first," to Caitlin. In the Bible, God created Adam. Randall was close to Dante before Caitlin came into his life. Randall also says, "Break his heart again and I'll kill you." Randall's godlike character, willing to destroy that which brings harm to his creation, or best friend in the movie's instance. When it comes to the other characters, I see most have a specific opposite parallel to each of the 7 virtues. Each virtue is lined up like this. Chastity, personified by Caitlin Bree, who has been known for having sex and relations with anyone, especially not staying faithful to her significant other, Dante. Temperance, personified by Jay, who decides to partake in all kinds of debauchery. There's too many to count, honestly. Diligence is personified by Dante, who's considerably impatient and not so much careless, but definitely inattentive. Patience is personified by Veronica, who had patience for Dante, but by the time he tried to explain himself about the whole Caitlin-Veronica situation, she had no patience for him anymore. Kindness is personified by Randall. As mentioned before, Randall is very malevolent in his own position of power. He's also very non-friendly and not considerate throughout the movie. Humility personified also by Jay. Jay's on cloud 9 24/7. He's incredibly prideful and is less than modest to say the least. The only character that actually personifies a virtue correctly was Silent Bob, who portrays charity, by helping Dante realize what Veronica should mean to him. I guess that characterization of Lunchbox makes sense when in Dogma he serves as a prophet in the mission to prevent the world from ending. Jay happens to be the other prophet, but it makes more sense for Bob, though.
Fuck, man, I think this shit just kicked in.
To conclude, even though Kevin Smith has been able to let out more religious ideas in films after 1994, I believe Clerks had a lot of religious ideas sewn into the film, whether that be through characters or narrative. Either way, Clerks is a great generational movie that everyone should see once in their lifetime.
Miramax Films presents...
You think anybody can see us down here?
Why? Do you want to have sex or something?
Can we?
Clerks. Just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you.